And let's just settle into our meditation posture. I don't know how this whatever is going on in Israel. It seems like a out of control gang warfare rather than a proper war with rules. I didn't know war had rules, but apparently it does. But what's happening over in the Middle East doesn't even look like there's rules. So it's probably terrifying for the people who live there, and it just sounds awfully chaotic. So just keep all those people in mind as we do a Vajrasattva practice tonight, and keep Hin in our mind, in our hearts, as we settle in and go inwards. This is our last sort of, for most people, probably the last practice of the evening. So just allow yourself to settle as you prepare for bed. In a way, it's great if this is the last thing that you do this evening, because you can't create any more negative karma before you go to sleep. So you just put your head on the pillow after you've done this and turn the light off. You're in good shape. And one thing to rejoice about is that, we're not doing any kind of grand splash thing here. We're just very humbly, consistently putting one foot in front of the other. And I think everybody probably can feel the benefits of this consistency. And I notice it myself. I also notice it in my yoga practice, my Tai Chi Chair practice. Consistency, nothing grand, just little steps every day. That's how we move forward. So if all you're doing in your Dharma practice is this is enough. I mean, it's fine for now, unless you have other commitments, but because it contains pretty much everything in it. So check your feet. If your feet are down on the floor, really feel yourself connected to the earth, soles of the feet. Feel the sits bones in the chair, and shoulders are aligned with the hips. And imagine your spine is a string of pearls of light, and it's stretching from the base all the way up through the crown of the head and beyond. So really put some space in between those vertebrae. And take a nice deep breath. And bring your awareness to the crown of the head and relax the scalp, the forehead, and the eyes, back of the eyes, the nose, the cheeks, the mouth, the jaw, back of the head. Relax the back of the neck and allow your shoulders and shoulder blades to drop down. Relax the throat, the chest, and the belly, and all of your limbs. Bring the mind to the breath and just notice the sensation of the air as we're inhaling and exhaling. And then if there are sounds in your environment, just allow those sounds to be there, trying not to follow with the mind. And then again, as we do every evening, just pay attention, excuse me, to the thoughts that are arising in the mind. Planning thoughts. Remembering. Future tripping. Anger. You can categorize them like that. This does help us to put some space in between them. You can even imagine them in a helium balloon, each category of thoughts, or on a little white fluffy cloud, and then just let the balloon glow, or just allow the cloud to float away. This isn't going to stop the thoughts. That's never going to happen. So our mind is continuous, but it can put some space in between them. It gives us this idea that we do have control over what's going on in our mind. Most of the time, though, we think we don't, but we do have the power. So bring to mind all the people of our life, our loved ones, spouses and children, best friends, then those people in your life who you don't like so much, or maybe you just don't trust, or you have aversion for, and then there's your strangers. Keeping in mind that these particular relationships can change place at any time. Maybe that's happened to you already this year. And then keeping in mind that all these people, regardless of how we feel about them, they're all equal in this wish to be happy and this wish to be free from suffering and having this extraordinary capacity for Buddhahood. So there is no negativity that cannot be purified, and this purification process is basically a psychological one. We create negativity with our mind, so we can equally change that by creating positivity instead, and we purify by applying these 4 opponent powers, the first of which is regret. So we start, and regret's not guilt, it's just a kind of attitude of taking responsibility. So we regret from the depths of our heart anything we have done to harm any living being on this day, in this life, and in all of our past lives, and think of specific actions of both your body and your speech, and then in general regret all. And the reason to regret is based on this logic of karma, and we experience everything due to our past karma, our past actions, and so having harmed others, we ourselves will necessarily experience suffering in the future. We cannot bear the thought of the future suffering that we ourselves will experience, and we know from the present suffering that we don't want any more. So logically, it makes sense to remove the karmic seeds before they ripen as future suffering for us. So think like this: I regret from the depths of my heart having harmed others with my body and my speech, having broken my vows, because I do not want the future suffering. I'm sick of suffering. So then think that we want to regret our delusions, and this is anger and attachment and grasping and bitterness and the rest of the cause of why we harm others. And then think, I'm sick of this suffering. And then we think, well, so what can I do about it? Whom can I turn to? And here we come to the power of reliance, and we turn to the Buddha. The first section is on refuge. The second little section is on developing compassion. So we turn to the Buddha, in this case, Vajrasattva, in the form of Vajrasattva. So you can imagine this something, as best you can, this image on the crown of your head, except it's made of light. Blissful, radiant, white light, sitting cross-legged on a white lotus and a moon cushion. You can imagine this is also the mind of your teacher manifesting in this form for your benefit. He has a beautiful, radiant face. His eyes are long and peaceful and full of love and compassion for you and all those people of your life. He has a sweet red mouth. His hair is black and held up in a top knot. His arms are crossed at his heart, the left underneath the right. The left is holding a bell representing wisdom, and the right is holding a vajra, which represents the indestructibility of compassion. And their being crossed represents the union of these two, which symbolizes enlightenment itself, the development of infinite wisdom and infinite compassion. To the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha, I go for refuge until I'm enlightened By this practice of meditating on Guru Vajrasattva, may I reach Buddhahood so as to benefit all sentient beings. So in order to develop compassion, we need to rely upon other beings, and the very beings we've harmed and those who have harmed us, by developing compassion for them. So think particularly of people you've harmed recently and in the past, and then in general, all beings we have ever harmed since beginningless time. And then remember those who have harmed you and just have compassion for them, because the suffering they've caused you is going to result in suffering for them sometime down the track. And the time of that suffering is uncertain, the ripening of that particular seed. So I think I must purify for their sake. So we now come to the power of the remedy, and this is the medicine, doing the practice of purification. And we start with the body. And Vajrasattva very compassionately sends powerful white nectar, like coming out of a hose, quite forcefully from his heart. And it arcs around and enters your crown and pours into your entire body, filling you completely. And it keeps pouring into you until it forces out of your lower orifices all the harm you've ever done to any living being with your body in the form of inky liquid. And this pours out of you and disappears into space, not one atom left, as we recite the mantra. Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Mebowa Sutokaya Mebowa Sipokaya Mebowa Anarakta Mebowa Sawasiti Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajrama Mimutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hompe Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Mebowa Sutokaya Mebowa Sipokaya Mebowa Anarakta Mebowa Sawasiti Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hompe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Mebowa Sitokaya Mebowa Sipokaya Mebowa Anarakta Mebowa Sawasiti Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hompe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Mebowa Sutokaya Mebowa Sipokaya Mebowa Anarakta Mebowa Sawasiti Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hompe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Mebowa Sutokaya Mebowa Sipokaya Mebowa Anarakta Mebowa Sawasiti Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hompe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Mebowa Sutokaya Mebowa Sipokaya Mebowa Anarakta Mebowa Sawasiti Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hompe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Mebowa Sutokaya Mebowa Sipokaya Mebowa Anarakta Mebowa Sawasiti Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe. So be delighted that all the harm you've ever done to any sentient being with your body is now completely purified, and think there's no way you could do anything but benefit others now with your body. Never harm. Now is the purification of our speech, and Vajrasattva very happily sends powerful nectar from his heart chakra, and this arcs around and forcefully enters your crown and fills your entire body, except this time forcing up to the top of your body all the negativity of your speech, which overflows and disappears into space, not one atom left. So just imagine all the gossip and the harsh speech and the useless speech and lying and talking badly about others behind their backs, getting others to agree with you. All of this is purified by this powerful nectar filling you as you recite the mantra. Vajrasapta Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapta Dina Patita Dita Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasiti Mimpi Yato Sawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hompe Vajrasapta Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapta Dina Patita Dita Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta meboa sawasiti mimpi yato sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuru hum ha 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 ho bhagavan sawa tata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva a hum pe vajrasapta samaya manupalaya vajrasapta dina patita dita meboa sitokaya meboa sipokaya meboa anurakta meboa sawasiti mimpi yato sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuru hum ha 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 ho bhagavan Sawatata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva a humpe. Vajrasapta samaya manupalaya vajrasapta dina patita. Dida meboa sitokaya meboa sipokaya meboa anurakta meboa sawasiti mimpi yato sawa kama sita me. Sitam shriyam kuru hum ha 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 ho bhagavan. Sawatata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva a humpe. Vajrasapta samaya manupalaya vajrasapta dina patita dita meboa sitokaya meboa sipokaya meboa anurakta meboa sawasiti mimpi yato sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuru hum ha 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 ho bhagavan sawatata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sata a humpe vajrasapta samaya manupalaya vajrasapta dina patita dita meboa sitokaya meboa sipokaya meboa Anurakta meboa sawasiti mimpi yato sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuru hum ha 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 ho bhagavan sawatata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva a humpe vajrasapta samaya manupalaya vajrasapta dina patita dita meboa sitokaya meboa sipokaya meboa anurakta meboa sawasiti mimpi yato sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuru hum ha 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 ho bhagavan Sawatata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva a hum pe. And again, feel so happy that your speech is now completely purified, and imagine it's not possible to do anything but benefit others now with your speech. And that includes yourself. Everything you write, you read, everything you speak, you hear. So next is the purification of our mind, and Vajrasattva very compassionately sends powerful beams of light from his heart chakra, and this arcs around and enters your crown and fills your entire being. So, you know, it's the same as when you walk into a pitch black room and you flick on that switch. The light that comes instantly dispels the darkness. So the light from Vajrasattva's heart hits your heart chakra. All the darkness of the negativity of your mind, all your attachment, neediness, bitterness, grudges, depression, anxiety, jealousy, resentment, all of this instantly dispelled, not one atom left as you recite the mantra. Vajrasapta samaya manupalaya vajrasapta dina patita dita meboa sitokaya meboa sipokaya meboa anurakta meboa sawasiti mimpi yatta sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuru hum ha 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 ho bhagavan sawatata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva a humpe vajrasapta samaya manupalaya vajrasapta dina patita dita meboa sitokaya meboa sipokaya meboa Anurakta meboa sawasiti mimpi yatta sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuru hum ha 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 ho bhagavan sawatata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva a humpe vajrasapta samaya manupalaya vajrasapta dina patita dita meboa sitokaya meboa sipokaya meboa anurakta meboa sawasiti mimpi yatta sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuru hum ha 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 ho bhagavan sawatata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva a humpe vajrasapta samaya manupalaya vajrasapta dina patita dita meboa sitokaya meboa sipokaya meboa Anorakta me boa sawa sidi mimpi yatsa sawa kama sita me. Sitam shriyam kuru hum ha 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 ho bhagavan. Sawa tata gata vajramami mutsa vajrabawa mahasamaya satva a hum pe. Vajrasapa samaya manupalaya vajrasapa dina patita. Dida me boa sitokaya me boa sipokaya me boa. Anorakta me boa sawa sidi mimpi yatsa sawa kama sita me. Sitam shriyam kuru hum ha 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 ho bhagavan. Sawa tata gata vajramami mutsa vajrabala mahasamaya satva a hum pe. Vajrasapta samaya manupalaya vajrasapta dina patita. Dida me boa sitokaya me boa sipokaya me boa. Anorakta me boa sawa sidi mimpi yatsa sawa kama sita me. Sitam shriyam kuru hum ha 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 ho bhagavan. Sawa tata gata vajramami mutsa vajrabala mahasamaya satva a hum pe. Vajrasapa samaya manupalaya vajrasapa dina patita. Dida me boa sitokaya me boa sipokaya me boa. Anorakta me boa sawa sidi mimpi yatsa sawa kama sita me. Sitam shriyam kuru hum ha 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 ho bhagavan. Sawa tata gata vajramami mutsa vajrabala mahasamaya satva a hum pe. So again, be delighted that all your delusions, which are the source of all of our own suffering and the cause of why we harm others with our body and our speech, are totally purified. And think now there's no space in your heart for anything other than love and kindness and forgiveness and wisdom and bliss and compassion. So next is the purification of even the imprints of negativity of the body, speech, and mind. So we just imagine that Vajrasattva sends light and nectar, and it fills you completely and eradicates even the subtlest imprints of negative energy from the mind. Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita. Dida meboa sitokaya meboa sipokaya meboa. Anorakta meboa sawa sidi mimpi yatsa sawa kama sita me. Sitam shriyam kuru hum ha 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 ho bhagavan. Sawa tata gata vajramami mutsa vajrabawa mahasamaya sata a hum pe. Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita. Dida meboa sitokaya meboa sipokaya meboa. Anorakta me boa sawa sidi mimpi yatsa sawa kama sita me. Sitam shriyam kuru hum ha 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 ho bhagavan. Sawa tata gata vajramami mutsa vajrabawa mahasamaya sata a hum pe. Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita. Dida me boa sitokaya me boa sipokaya me boa. Anorakta me boa sawa sidi mimpi yatsa sawa kama sita me. Sitam shriyam kuru hum ha 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 ho bhagavan. Sawa tata gata vajramami mutsa vajrabala mahasamaya sata a hum pe. Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita. Dida me boa sitokaya me boa sipokaya me boa. Anorakta me boa sawa sidi mimpi yatsa sawa kama sita me. Sitam shriyam kuru hum ha 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 ho bhagavan. Sawa tata gata vajramami mutsa vajrabala mahasamaya sata a hum pe. Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita. Dida me boa sitokaya me boa sipokaya me boa. Anorakta me boa sawa sidi mimpi yatsa sawa kama sita me. Sitam shriyam kuru hum ha 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 ho bhagavan. Sawa tata gata vajramami mutsa vajrabala mahasamaya sata a hum pe. Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita. Dida me boa sitokaya me boa sipokaya me boa. Anorakta me boa sawa sidi mimpi yatsa sawa kama sita me. Sitam shriyam kuru hum ha 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 ho bhagavan. Sawa tata gata vajramami mutsa vajrabala mahasamaya sata a hum pe. Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita. Dida me boa sitokaya me boa sipokaya me boa. Anorakta me boa sawa sidi mimpi yatsa sawa kama sita me. Sitam shriyam kuru hum ha 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 ho bhagavan. Sawa tata gata vajramami mutsa vajrabala mahasamaya satva a hum pe. So now feel you are completely purified. There's not one atom of negativity left in your mind stream. Even the subtlest obscurations to your enlightenment have been removed. So really, really feel that. Really want that and know that it is possible. So the fourth step in the purification process is the power of resolve. And this is a really crucial step and it's the determination to refrain from harming with our body and our speech and our mind. And without making a decision, without this determination, we're just going to keep up with this same, excuse me, habit energy. The same neural pathways will be continually used. It's just easier to go that way. And they're not all born of this life. Sometimes we bring these habits with us. So this determination, this aspiration to not harm again, or to not refrain from harming, I think to not harm again might be ambitious. We just start simply. Think about refraining from harming. It becomes like a beacon that guides our body and our speech and our mind in new directions. So just as Rinpoche used to say, everything exists on the tip of the wish, the aspiration. So we have a lot of habits, so we just think about something that we've been working on, or maybe something you would like to work on. Maybe you have some negative feelings about a person that keep getting triggered, that you want to get on top of. Maybe you have some unfounded fear. I think sometimes the ones that are in the mind are the hardest to deal with. That's why we try and isolate and categorize the thoughts. We can kind of deal with them. Something like biting our nails or eating too much cake perhaps is a little easier. But anyway, just think you want to refrain from harming yourself and others with your body, speech, and mind. And then think about, give yourself a timeline and make a vow. And even if you can only hold that vow for 5 minutes or a minute or 30 seconds, you've kept it. It's just one baby step. And this determination to not do something again, or to start thinking about refraining from doing something, is what gives us strength to change all these habits. So imagine Vajrasattva is delighted with you, wants to merge with your mind and melts into white light and absorbs into you through your crown. And think, my Guru's body, speech, and mind, Vajrasattva's body, speech, and mind, and my own body, speech, and mind are the same. And then think, as Rinpoche recommends, to meditate on emptiness. In emptiness, there is no I, the creator of negative karma. There is no action of creating negative karma. And there is no negative karma created. So at whatever level your mind understands emptiness, just place it there for a little while. You can think of all phenomena as being empty, like everything is just dependent on everything else, dependent arisings. They don't exist from their own side. Rain doesn't exist from its own side. Receiving a package from Amazon doesn't exist from its own side. Package doesn't exist from its own side. They've all got causes and conditions. You can also think this way: the way things appear to me may not necessarily be the way they actually exist. How many times have you misinterpreted an email or a text message? So let's just dedicate all the merit, all the positive energy we've created by doing this practice to all living beings, and think, may all the virtuous karma I've created from doing this practice ripen as my enlightenment for the sake of sentient beings as quickly as possible. And if you have His Holiness the Dalai Lama as a teacher, so make a strong wish for His Holiness to live a very, very long time, and to continue to be able to be in good health and be happy, and be able to get all of his projects fulfilled, and to be able to continue to teach. And then very strong prayers for the reincarnation of Lama Zopa Rinpoche. Hopefully there'll be a young child soon. And then for all your own teachers, those your teachers, Buddhist teachers, your yoga teachers, your trainer at the gym, anyone that's teaching you anything, that's helping you, make a strong wish for them to live a long life. Everybody, lots of love. Take care. Good night. Thank you particularly to those people east of California, because it's really late where you all are. Okay, lots of love and thank you very much. And I'll see you tomorrow. Okay, bye. Good night.